tonight.
2 children and their mother missing for 3 days are found safe and sound. Find out what really happened in our live report. Plus, big news for bikers on a bill that would allow them to ride without helmets.
And can you believe it? A new way to turn all your loose change into cold cash in just seconds. Good evening. I'm Larry Kane.
And I'm Robin Rieger. Eyewitness News at 6 begins right now.
Live from Independence Mall, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
So you wanted a white Christmas. Topping Eyewitness News at 6. If you plan to travel tonight or tomorrow, you might want to keep an eye on the sky and listen for Dave Frankel all the time. Winter's here, and finally, I'd arrive with a bang. If you've been out any time since before dawn, you know the bitterly cold, bone-chilling temperatures which suddenly gripped our entire area. Now, something white is being added to the mix. The first real snowfall of the season in our area is on the way. In some places, it's here.
And Dave Frankel is here now to tell us when and how much we can expect.
Well, guys, it's the first snow of the season. It's coming just in time for Christmas. And since a lot of folks don't have to go to work tomorrow, this is a pretty good time for it. Let's show you what's going to happen. There is a winter storm warning in effect for Philadelphia on south for tonight and tomorrow. And the National Weather Service is estimating anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. And this is sort of the reverse of the way it usually works. More to the south, less to the north. So Philadelphia probably in that 3-inch area. You get further north, you know, you go into Reading and the Lehigh Valley, probably 1 to 3 inches in those areas. When does it start? Pretty soon, probably by about 8 o'clock. If you haven't already seen it start in your area, by 8, 9 o'clock, it starts to overspread us. Really picks up by midnight, and the heaviest times will be overnight and into early tomorrow. It should all wind down by about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll have the latest on the snow and the all-important Christmas Eve and Christmas Day forecasts coming up. Robin?
Thanks, Dave. Residents and road crews are getting ready for the first snowstorm of the season. Eyewitness News reporter Beth McDonough is live at the PennDOT facility in Hunting Park with that story. Good evening, Beth.
Robin, we are standing right next to what looks like a very large mound of snow, but this is not snow, not yet anyway. It's actually salt, an ingredient that PennDOT workers will use to help melt away some slick spots on the streets overnight tonight. However, the very cold climate out here, it could not help to keep die-hard shoppers inside at all. There's a flurry of activity at the Italian market. The cold weather is heating up business here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm in the spirit, so that's why I came out, because of the cold weather.
And for patrons who shop here, especially for the fish, when the mercury dips below freezing.
The fish, it tastes better when it's cold, like, you know, the present temperature. It's very good.
Saywalk is averaging $2 grand a day in sales. He credits the chilly climate. But Mario Gerardo, he isn't so fond of the freezing forecast.
I'm just counting on luck, because the snow will hurt us, so I'm hoping there's no snow tonight.
Over at PennDOT, crews are on full alert.
Any precipitation at all in the wintertime when the temperatures are low, especially in the low 30s, we have to take action and we have to be ready for that.
Crews are scooping up nearly 72,000 tons of salt. Salt never touched last year, and dumping them into 500 trucks. Workers will wait. When the flurries fall, crews will get the call. Salt the roads, clear the highways, and work to make sure this chill doesn't kill. Now some tips from PennDOT officials in case you do plan to embark on some holiday travels. Of course, make sure that you do drive with a full tank of gas. Be sure to check to make sure that the battery in your car is fully charged, that your tires are completely aired up. And of course, always keep your guard up because especially tomorrow morning, there could be a very messy commute. Live in Hunting Park, Beth McDonough, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
And for the very latest on the snow, keep your television tuned right here to KYW3 Eyewitness News. Of course, Dave will be back in a little bit with the forecast, and we'll have continuing coverage throughout the night with the very latest on Eyewitness News at 11. Then again tomorrow, beginning a half hour early at 5 a.m.
In other news tonight, a happy ending to a heartbreaking story just 2 days before the holiday. A family is found 3 days after a mother left behind a suicide note and vanished with her 2 sons. Eyewitness News reporter Walt Hunter is live in the city of Allentown with more tonight. Walt?
Larry, you know, when you watched 11-year-old Adam Hughes and his 8-year-old brother Shane smiling and playing with their Game Boys, you didn't get any feeling at all that they had any worry about the trip they were on with their mother. But detectives and many other people were terribly worried about the children and their mother and were greatly relieved when the children and their mother were found safe in a small town just outside of Allentown here this morning. Safe in the hands of police, 11-year-old Adam Hughes and his 8-year-old brother Shane, along with their mother Julie, were taken to a hospital to be checked out. A motorist, police say, had spotted their Aerostar van at a nearby motel, and realizing they were being sought by police, he had notified authorities.
She gave no indication as to why she was doing things. She did state that, she had stayed at the Travel Inn and that she was checking out, getting ready for breakfast.
After a checkup, police say the kids were found to be just fine.
In third grade shape. All are interested right now. They're presently playing their Game Boys, and that's all they want to do at this point in time.
It was Monday, police say, that Mrs. Hughes, distraught over a divorce and financial problems, left her Northeast Philadelphia home with her 2 sons, leaving behind a suicide note and a second letter saying she had planned her son's funeral. That prompted desperate pleas from family members to return.
She just called. I know she thinks her world's caving in on her. If she just comes back, we'll fix it.
Police now say, however, it appears that Mrs. Hughes did not harm her 2 sons in any way, and in fact was preparing to return home with the children at the time she was spotted. Police say they expect no criminal charges to be filed.
There's no abduction case here. She has rightful custody.
But as Mrs. Hughes and her 2 children began the long ride back to Philadelphia with detectives, it would now be up to the city's Department of Human Services and Family Court to determine if she would continue to have custody of her 2 sons. And late word from detectives is that the 2 boys will now be in the care of another family member while Mrs. Hughes receives counseling. This was, in the words of one detective, a mother perhaps crying for help. And it now appears those cries will be answered. In Allentown, Walt Hunter, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
And there's another story with a happy ending tonight in North Philadelphia. It was Thanksgiving week when gunshots rang out near York and Opal, and a 4-year-old was caught in the crossfire. Now that little boy is home for Christmas, and Eyewitness News reporter Robin McIntosh tells us in this exclusive report, the family is calling his survival a miracle.
Christmas came early to the 1500 block of St. Luke Street in the form of a 4-year-old little boy.
Look.
But 2 days before last Thanksgiving, few thought Jermaine Lipscomb was going to make it to Christmas Day. Shot in the head while sitting in the back seat of his car, caught in a hail of bullets.
It was like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it sounded like the 4th of July.
I never thought that he was hit until we pulled off, and I just something to turn around and look, and I just seen blood all over his face. And I just started screaming and howling. I was like, just pull off, just go, my baby got hit.
Jermaine was rushed to Children's Hospital, where doctors worked to relieve the pressure of his swelling brain that had left him paralyzed on his left side. But after weeks of surgery, rehab, and prayer, Jermaine Lipscomb has come home for Christmas.
Santa Claus came early for you, huh?
Yes, Santa Claus did me a big favor.
Friends and family are calling Jermaine's recovery an early Christmas miracle. And instead of having his stocking hung by his bedside in a hospital, it's here at home. But what he needs and wants probably won't fit inside that stocking. It's something as simple as a bed of his own.
I have a bed for him, but they say he needs to be laying by himself because of the head injury he had. And right now, I don't have a bed for him.
Family members say bunk beds would fill the bill since Jermaine's brother sleeps in the same room. Brothers reunited for Christmas, sharing the greatest gift of all, the gift of life.
Merry Christmas.
In North Philadelphia, Robin McIntosh, KYW3 Eyewitness News.
And we wish Jermaine and his family many more happy Christmases together.
Maybe somebody watching who has an extra bed or a manufacturer store can help out, hopefully. Up next in Eyewitness News, scrambling for a gift. You're looking live as last-minute shoppers flock to the malls.
Then, can you believe it, turn loose change into fast cash without counting, rolling, or heading for the bank. Dave?
All right, Robin, grab a shovel, or at least a broom. Snow is on the way. We'll have your exclusive 5-day forecast.
The biggest event of the year is going on now. Make the drive to your Quality Plus Ford dealers year-end clearance, where you'll score giant savings. The choice is yours. $269 a month lease on Ford Explorer with control track 4-wheel drive, or just $269 a month on 4-door Windstar with a 5-star government safety rating, or choose 1,000 cash back or 0-9 financing. Get off the bench and check out Ford's winning lineup, because when the whistle blows, the event's over. Year-end clearance only.
Smart plan and an easy one. Just show your card when you pay, and you pay less.
Call 1-800-210-6644 now for your free information kit or to join UBS Now. The potential savings are unlimited. Call now.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Good evening and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Janetta Jones. The weather is finally catching up to the calendar. From Texas to Virginia, icy roads, freezing rain, sleet, and snow are causing problems for folks during one of the busier travel times of the year. We're watching the situation closely. For more information, we turn to Dennis Smith in the Forecast Center.
Thank you, Jeanette. As we focus in on the nasty wintertime weather across the Deep South, we'll have scenes from the nation's capital, Nashville and Dallas. I'll have a live report from the Dallas area in the next couple of minutes, as well as give you an idea what you can expect as you have some holiday travel plans on Christmas Eve. Setting the stage, the cold air masses embrace much of the country. Unfortunately, freezing and frozen precipitation is gripping the southeast, now advancing on up into the mid-Atlantic states. It looks like the cold temperatures and the moisture are getting it together from Texas, Dallas to Waco, to Shreveport. They're getting freezing drizzle. Memphis, Nashville, moving all the way up into the nation's capital now with frozen or freezing precipitation, and these nippy temperatures don't show like they're going to be budging anytime soon. Still dealing with a freezing mark that encompasses much of the Deep South and will continue to slide on southward a little bit tonight. Let's show you some scenes from around the United States. We'll start over in the nation's capital first go. There we'll be able to see a live shot coming out of the nation's capital. That'll show some of the wintry precipitation that's been going on in that area for the last couple of hours. There it is spitting out some snow, even around the nation's capital, up through Baltimore and even Philadelphia. The light snow began earlier this afternoon, and it looks like a snow advisory is in effect for the area tonight. And it looks like it'll possibly mix with freezing drizzle and sleet as we progress through the overnight hours into Christmas Eve. Nashville, Tennessee, another area indicated with the frozen precipitation. Combination of sleet and freezing rain this morning made it a nightmare for commuters and travelers. Winter storm watch out for Middle Tennessee will continue into Christmas Eve morning. Please be careful. If you don't have to venture out there, please don't. Another area impacted by icy conditions is Dallas. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Today, the crews were busy de-icing planes. In fact, several flights out of the DFW area were canceled because of the inclement weather. Speaking of Dallas, that's where we're going to have an updated report from going on in that general vicinity. Dallas, Texas, the latest on the ice and snow with Jeff Morrow. Jeff?
Dennis, the temperature range today was 4 degrees, between 24 this morning and 28 this afternoon. Obviously well below freezing, so that any ice that fell this morning, and we ended up with anywhere between 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch of ice that coated many things, including the road surfaces. No way that melted. A lot of roads were sanded. In fact, let's go ahead and show you the big interchange here again between I-30 and I-635, which is the LBJ Expressway. Traffic moving a little bit quicker than what it was obviously earlier when a lot of these roads were very icy, but particularly going up the ramps there on those overpasses and the bridges, that is where the ice still could be a big problem as the cold air gets up underneath these structures, and you can see that's where the cars are going slowest. Particularly the big rigs, the 18-wheelers, they seem to be really taking their times. Obviously, they don't want to be tipping over or sliding around in any conditions like this. We got word that down the LBJ Expressway here, just south of here, about maybe 2 or 3 miles, one of those 18-wheelers turned over, and now there are a couple of lanes blocked there. So still some big problems going on. Let's go ahead to the driving tips on that note and tell you a few things that you really need to keep in mind, and really it's common sense. Slow down. Just slow it down. Even though it hasn't been freezing or raining here for several hours, that doesn't mean there still isn't ice on the roads, particularly on untreated surfaces. You're still going to have problems, so just slow it down a bit. You'll get where you're going. Also, if you have anti-lock brakes, don't pump them. Just a steady pressure on the anti-lock brakes. If you don't have anti-lock brakes, then you can pump those brakes. I know that sounds a bit confusing, but just know what you're driving, and that will slow you down. And try not to brake when you're going into a curve, because that makes it very easy for the car to skid sideways. Just a couple of tips to try to help you out if you're out and about there tonight. And I guess the best advice at this point, the final tip is, if you don't have to be out tonight, probably don't. Back to you, Dennis.
Thank you very much. Jeff Morrow reporting from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, keeping us updated on the winter precipitation going on there. We've kind of had a 1-2 punch with this particular storm. Let me show you the satellite perspective. The first wave of precipitation continuing to take shape on up into the mid-Atlantic states. That will continue to move on up towards the Washington, D.C. area. But note the enhancement of some of the cloudiness back out into Texas. Another round of precipitation is in the offing later on tonight, so it's not over with. Shreveport, freezing drizzle all along Interstate 20. Alexander and Lake Charles reporting some light rain right now, and that will continue to be the story tonight. Farther to the north and east, we're picking up some more light freezing drizzle in Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, even on up into Huntington, West Virginia, and Asheville, all reporting freezing drizzle right now. That will continue to also eject on off towards the northeast. In areas around the nation's capital, light snow penetrating that area, as well as Philadelphia. So we urge you even this evening to please drive carefully, even though the bulk of that precipitation should be coming in overnight. So from tonight into tomorrow morning, commuting to work or just trying to make some holiday plans, Interstate 20 from Dallas to Jackson should be icy. Interstate 55 icy. Interstate 81, 75, and 65 all icy. And snow accumulations starting up in New York City, continuing in Philly, down to Washington, D.C. Some of the western sides of Philadelphia and Washington should pick up as much as 2 to 4 inches of snow with this particular episode.